Welcome to the Tuesday Review. I'm Nathan, as always joined by James and Callum in the studio. How you going, guys?
Not bad.
Yeah, fine.
Also finally rejoined by Alan. How you going, Alan?
Yeah, finally back.
Yeah, I know, he's finally here for a change.
Yeah.
Also joined by Rafal and silent producer Christian. How you going, guys?
Yeah, they're here.
They're
not-
nodding in affirmation.
Yeah. So we're finally back. We had a little bit of hiatus. Not due to illness like usual, but there's been some pretty big technical difficulties in the studio. So hopefully that won't affect us too much going forward, but it looks like it might be an ongoing issue. But we'll see.
We'll work to get it fixed.
Yeah. So yeah, we haven't done the show in a couple of weeks, so there's a lot to talk about, but it is getting very close to Christmas. So we thought first we'll talk about some Christmas movies that we've been watching.
Yeah. Well, all right. So what have let's start here. What have you been watching so far?
Well, should we talk about Krampus first?
Yeah, we'll go watch Krampus.
Because
This was a movie I totally forgot about, and I saw like an ad for it, and I was like, oh, I should watch that for Christmas. Like a Christmas horror movie.
yeah.
And then I watched it. I got about halfway through. I'm like, I think I've seen this movie before.
Yeah.
I think I went to the movies to see it when it came out, and it's kind of okay but forgettable.
Yeah, I mean that's kind
It kind of
of
sums it up.
Yeah, that
like,
sums
I think
it
I've
up.
seen this before.
Because I remember when it came out, and I was like, oh yeah, that looks okay. And then for years, it came out in 2015, and I remember for years afterwards, I was just like, oh, I have to watch that. And I heard people say, oh, it's actually pretty good, and I just never got around to it. And then this year, Nathan's like, oh, I'm gonna watch it, and I said, all right, I'll watch it too. We can talk about it on the show. And so I finally watched it, and I'm like, that was okay. And then Nathan's like, oh, I think I've actually seen that before, and I just completely forgot. And then Callum's like, yeah, I think I saw it too.
It's not a movie you're gonna remember.
Yeah,
after
and
a
it's
year
just
or
like,
two.
and people are like, oh, it's actually really good. I'm like, it's fine, I guess.
Yeah, like, because that's how I got jazzed up about it again, because I'm like, people say it's really good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I watched it, I'm like, no, I've seen it, and it was average.
Yeah, like, I think it's a bit tonally inconsistent. Like, sometimes it's funny and silly, and then other times it's really dark, and it ends on a kind of dark kind of note. And yeah, I was just like, they should have just been like, we're going to be like fun gremlins, or we're going to be like really dark horror.
Yeah, because it tries to mix the two. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also very, what's the word? Painfully PG-13. Like, they're trying so hard not to swear and so hard not to show any real graphic violence.
But they're also trying really hard to be like, but we are a horror movie.
But we're a horror movie. It's really scary and violent, and there's monsters and it's like...
But no, not really.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, very average, very forgettable.
Yeah. I mean, the idea of Krampus is cool.
I don't think it's also not tapped into enough, I feel.
Well, no, that's the thing is there's a million Krampus movies.
Really?
But they're all like Z grade.
But they're all crap.
Like literally like no budget, the trauma style, like just garbage horror movies.
I feel like...
And this one is like actually the only one that's got any production value and budget behind it.
I feel like Krampus is an issue as well, because it can kind of get racist, in a certain way.
No, he's a monster.
No,
he's a
but
goat man.
he has like...
You're thinking of Black Peter.
Black Peter, yeah.
That's
is that related to
Yeah,
Krampus?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Different, yeah.
I was like, he's not to get a Krampus.
Yeah. Krampus is a goat man who
Yeah.
punishes the bad children.
Was it the Dutch guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all that.
But it's in that kind of world.
Yeah. But no, like the idea of like, evil Santa, that's
That's a
good
classic.
enough. And this is like this Krampus movie from 2015 is like the only one that has any real budget and production behind it. And it's got a great cast, like Adam Scott, David Koechner, a bunch of other people. And the effects are pretty good. But yeah, it's just kind of like
It's kind of whatever,
Yeah.
Look, well, what else? In a similar vein, I watched Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Yeah, Christmas horror movies is
Christmas
a good
slasher.
good crossover.
I thought it was a good time. It definitely couldn't be made today, because it kind of has a whole stereotype about people who have, we'll say, certain mental illnesses or disabilities. And, the main character being someone who witnessed something traumatic as a child.
Yeah.
And it kind of, I guess, arrests their development. and they get triggered later on into, for some reason, killing an entire population in a town, basically.
I mean, that's like
dressed as Santa Claus.
That's like every horror movie ever, but this one has the gimmick of, but he dresses as Santa Claus, and it's during Christmas kind of thing.
Yeah. Like, it's fun.
Which upset people.
Yeah.
All I know
it
about...
got big. They wanted to ban it.
Yeah, there was like a whole Mothers Against Violence, like, protesting outside.
But the interesting thing is, when was this released? In 1984, it made $20 million off no advertising and limited release.
When you told me that, I was like, no way, I
looked it up. It's true.
But it makes sense because they made 4 sequels.
But the director and producer of the original movie, they were like, if the studios had trusted them with a proper release, proper wide release and marketing, they reckon it could have made like over $100 million in 1984 money.
That's pretty huge.
Which, because they said that's just extrapolation on what they did with nothing.
Yeah.
So you're saying
it's pretty safe, man.
For just a cheesy slasher movie, like, that's pretty impressive.
So it was like the birth of like the Christmas slasher.
It was a box office massacre.
In a way.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Could you provide a little more detail on the traumatic event? Was it like some guy dressed as Santa Claus who did his mom?
Yeah, basically there was like, the movie starts, spoiler alert for a 1984 slasher movie, whatever, but it starts as like, there's like a guy just like sort of raping, killing, thieving, murdering his way through a town in like, dressed as Father Christmas. I guess that would have been like the 60s or something.
Oh, the beginning.
Yeah, right at the beginning.
Yeah, I can't remember.
So it's kind of like, that's the image that boy has of like Father Christmas and Christmas in general, is of like just.
So when he grows up, he does the same thing.
Right. Yeah.
But then what was the first guy's deal?
Yeah, well, exactly. That doesn't go into that.
Did they have to make a prequel?
Yeah, they have to sign origin.
One of the sequels should have been a prequel. I know. The only thing I do know
it all
about...
has to go back to the Coca-Cola company.
That would be good.
I have a feeling it was something like Escaped Convict or something like that.
The only thing I know about Silent Night, Deadly Night is the sequel is like a legendarily, like one of the legendary like bad movies.
Yeah.
And like the first half of Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, the first half of it is just like literally scenes from Part 1. It's like a recap. And then the rest of the movie is just like the main character, the killer from the first movie, his brother now is gone crazy because his brother was crazy. And so now he dresses up as Santa Claus and starts killing people.
It's ridiculous. And look, it's one of those movies where I'm purposely not watching sequels.
I think the second one is like one of those legendary like riff tracks kind of bad movie, like so bad it's fun to watch kind of movies. Just anyone listening, and I'll get you guys to do it as well after the show. Look up Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, Garbage Day. It's the legendary scene from Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2.
One of many.
Yeah, one of many. It's become a meme.
Is it the Citizen Kane of B-movie horror movies?
Probably not, but it's in that wheelhouse of this is a so bad it's good kind of fun riff tracks.
It's funny the way you're speaking about it makes me think of guys in tuxedos lining up to go and see it.
Yeah, it's got that meme ability because it's so bad, like, and you're just like, what the hell is this? But it's hilarious. Honestly, we'll look it up. Yeah.
The only other Christmas movies I've been watching recently, we'll talk about another one I really didn't like. I'm gonna warn people against A Christmas Carol, the recent one with Guy Pearce and Andy Serkis.
When did that come out?
2019.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, Guy Pearce and Andy Serkis in a retelling of A Christmas Carol, but it's 3 hours long and depressing. It's not a good movie.
Yeah, no joy in it, apparently.
I watched the
even at the end, when he changes heart.
I didn't get that far. It's just not... It's not great. It's terrible.
Was it a miniseries or a movie?
It was originally released as a miniseries, but when it went to streaming, they released it as a movie.
Yeah.
So it aired on the BBC in like three or four nights. Okay. And then when they released it after that, like the televised release,
altogether,
it's now like a 2 hour, 59-minute film, whatever it is. It's not good. It's very depressing, very dark. The whole movie, like both in themes and the actual film, the visual, cinematography.
Yeah,
it's just dark. Like I can't see what's going on. Nobody's having a good time.
Okay.
Like there's no Christmas message here. It's just suffering.
Well,
so
you didn't get to the end.
Life.
I'm assuming the end is still the same, unless they change that till everyone dies. And
but it's kind of really dark in a way. Like there's themes of, like, it's a Christmas Carol with Ebenezer Scrooge, but there's themes of child abuse and slavery and like graphic kind of torture.
Jesus,
like,
what?
Yeah, they tried.
Sounds
to
like they tried to like edgy it.
Yeah,
up.
no, they did. They tried to bring it up for a more mature audience for the modern age, and I'm like, they're taking like the edgy HBO version of like a Christmas Carol, and I'm like, I was interested. I was keen.
They should just remake a Muppets Christmas
But
Carol.
yeah,
or
what I was
something.
going to say.
No, you can't remake
No.
the best version
Yeah,
of
no.
All
the
CG.
But that's what I was.
Get out. That's blasphemy.
just
I know
winding
you
you
love
up.
puppets.
Yeah.
I know for a fact
He's
you
just
love
winding
puppets.
you up.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, no, that's what I did. I put on I didn't like this at all, so I put on a Muppets Christmas Carol.
Yeah, that's-
also on Disney Plus.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say.
and
is
they
I-
released They released a.
they didn't in Australia because we're in Australia.
It says an extra.
Yeah, but okay, so for listeners who don't know, the Muppets Christmas Carol originally had a song halfway through. I think it's called When Love Is Lost. It's like a slow song right in the middle of a movie, and the producers were like, no, it's too slow, it's boring for kids, you got to cut it out. And so for the theatrical release, they cut it out of the movie, but then when it was released on video, the filmmakers were like, no, you have to put it back in. It's an important part of the movie. And it is a very important part of the movie. So they put it back in. But then when they released, and I think DVD was on there as well. But when they released it on Blu-ray, they took it out again.
Yeah.
And people, for years, people have been like, please put that song back in. It's very important. And finally this year, Disney released it on Disney Plus. They're like, oh, it's the full version. But you have to go in the extras and go down to and play the full version. But in Australia, again, because we're in Australia and we never get anything, it's not there. Only the actual song by itself, the 3-minute clip or whatever, is there in the extras.
Bit of a piss take.
So, yeah, so I was furious. So I had to sail the 7 seas, as I often have to do, unfortunately.
To be fair, they didn't give us an option.
And there's no excuse for it. They're the biggest company in the world, and they can't click the button that says Australia.
Yeah,
gets
like they
this
get
as
every
well.
other country gets it.
Yeah, it's garbage.
Do better.
But
Yeah,
anyway,
do better. Yeah. So
anyway, the Guy Pearce one depressing. Just watch the Muppets instead.
yeah, watch it. I watch it and I'm like, oh my god, Muppets is so good with the song in the middle because it's an important part of the character development of Scrooge.
Yeah. So that's all I have for A Christmas Carol. The last one I watched Scrooged again.
That's a great movie.
Another take on it.
Classic.
Bill Murray classic.
Classic, yeah.
And Jingle All the Way.
I watch Jingle All the Way every Christmas morning. No joke. No exaggeration.
no.
Every Christmas morning, it's a tradition. I get up, I put it on.
No, my my mum is usually too good for these movies, all right?
Yeah.
Anyway, she was there when I was watching it, and she watched the entire thing, and she didn't hate it.
No.
I'm like, see, it's a good movie.
It's got a bad rap, but honestly, it's a great Christmas movie.
Yeah,
it's
Phil
a really
Hartman.
fun. Oh, so funny.
He's the villain basically, but he's so in a way.
Oh man.
Him and like Sinbad are kind of villains, but
Sinbad's
he's so good.
also so good.
Yeah, but Phil Hartman in this movie is so good. He's so creepy.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? He's so just slimy, creepy in
Hey
the
Liz,
best way.
So, hey Liz, why don't you let me in?
Yeah.
So good. Oh man. Yeah, no, that's such a good movie. I quote it all the time. So funny.
good.
I only watched one Christmas movie this year,
Yeah.
and that movie was Gremlins.
Classic.
Yeah, haven't seen it in
Speaking
years.
of puppets.
yeah, exactly. Animatronics, thank you.
Yeah.
No hands involved. And you know what a great film. We have it on Blu-ray. Don't have the 4K, which I was shattered when I found out.
That's
it was on
I think
4K.
I gave you that Blu-ray.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did
Yeah,
swapsies.
Yeah, it looks great though. I imagine the 4K transfer is immaculate.
Yeah, I want to get the 4K.
Because the Blu-ray itself looks fantastic. Such a crisp picture.
Yeah.
And I was talking to you before the show. We're talking about animatronics don't age, puppets don't age. You know, like so. I put on Gremlins. It looks as good today as it did when it was released.
Yeah.
You know, Spielberg's majesty. Like
Joe Dante.
Spielberg produced it. I mean, like you know.
Oh,
his
that era.
Yeah,
that era. Yeah.
Spielbergian. His touch is on there all over this film,
yeah,
and it's so cool. You know, even the dog and like the Barney the dog and the Oh, it's like
you don't get that anymore because now it would just be CGI garbage flipping flopping around, and the movie would look very flat and plain.
And the,
like Gremlins is a good looking movie.
Yeah.
Regardless of the actual animatronics and the puppets and all that, if just the opening,
the colors are vibrant.
The scenes,
the scenes are well lit as well. Like the darker scenes are well lit, so you can actually see what's going on. Gizmo in a Christmas hat. I'm a simple man. What do you want? You know, a Mogwai with a Christmas hat on. You know, winning like Oscar bait. And then you get
Baby Yoda can suck it because Gizmo.
Nah. You leave Grogu alone. We'll talk after the show.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know.
Grogu. You know what? Mogwai had the Christmas hat on, so Grogu could have the sippy cup.
Yeah, Gizmo walked, so
Grogu could run.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
But don't forget I forgot how funny the gremlins were. The actual demon
Monsters,
Mogwais, whatever. The part I forgot about the part in the bar.
Yeah.
Where they're all drinking and smoking and
like,
and going crazy and stuff. And I was like, awesome. Then they go to the cinema and they're like watching cartoons in the cinema and like I was like, it's so cool.
Yeah.
I loved it. What can I say? I loved it. It was awesome.
Yeah. It's awesome. What a classic.
Yeah. Haven't seen it in years. If you haven't seen Gremlins in years like me, because it's one of those movies that sometimes you just like don't watch because there's so much to watch.
I think I don't know if we've ever
unless you're on like an 80s Spielbergian kind of era trip.
I don't know if we've ever talked about this before, but I think a lot of people see movies when they're younger and go, "Oh, I love Gremlins. I love Terminator 2. I love Star Wars."
But they don't rewatch it.
And then they grow up and they just like the idea of it and they don't actually go back and revisit it. Yeah. And that's why a lot of these sequels and prequels and remakes,
they don't capture the original spirit.
They don't capture the original spirit, but they latch on to those people who are like, "Oh, I love Gremlins when I was a kid. Oh, there's a Gremlins remake. I'm going to go see it." And they go and they spend the money on it, even if it's garbage. It's just it's the nostalgia bait we always talk about. We talked about it a lot when the Disney Star Wars movies were coming out. Like, people go for the nostalgia and not necessarily because they liked rewatching the originals. They liked that universe. They're interested in... It's just like, oh, I remember that from when I was younger. But yeah, it's a good idea to... Movies you love, going back. And when we talked about RoboCop, it's the same thing. I've seen that movie so many times, and yet every time I go back, it gets better. So, like, if you put off watching some of these movies that you've seen before,
I mean, especially if
you won't regret revisiting them.
Especially if it's been a few years since you've seen it. You forget things. You forget the little details that make the movie magical.
If you haven't seen it since it came out on DVD, for example, like Blu-ray's the perfect time to go and do it. Or in this case 4K, because like we talked about before, it's like seeing something fresh, like watching RoboCop on 4K.
Oh yeah, it's
I was like
wow.
Yeah,
it's like seeing it for the first time.
Yeah, especially with Spielberg movies or movies from that era, if they're done right. Listeners might remember I talked about Poltergeist on 4K and how it blew my socks off. Yeah, and I was like, it's a classic. Everyone's seen Poltergeist, I'm assuming. And revisiting it with that fresh lens, it really makes a difference.
Well, what Christmas movies have you seen lately, Alan?
Christmas is against my religion, and I think this show's been very, very one-sided. And Christ-centric.
Yeah.
So,
no Christ in these movies, let's be honest.
No, I just I don't know. I've never really been one on big on Christmas movies. Like I've never
I think it's definitely.
You watched that one with Seth Rogen. We went to the
last Christmas. No,
the night before.
The night before. That's a good Christmas movie.
I've never seen it. I've never seen it.
That's really good. I mean, there's some allusions to how James Franco really is in that movie that may be a little bit too prescient.
But it's overall, it's because I guess I've never been massive on going to movies to see comedy movies. Yeah, and a lot of the Christmas movies end up either kind of being in that vein. Yeah. But if somebody is watching something, I'm happy to sit down and watch it. Like I said, I gave The Night Before Christmas a chance. I had a good time with it. But for me, I like something I guess more holiday themed that I'd probably watch in this time, even though it's more Thanksgiving, but it's still holiday themed, is the South Park Thanksgiving triple episode special, where they've got the Black Friday sale coming up, and the boys want half the boys want the PS4, half the boys want the Xbox One.
Oh yeah,
the whole Black Friday banderu. And Stan takes a job at the mall as a security guard in the guise of getting extra cash for the holidays. Yeah, he's actually just there so he can beat the lines into Black Friday sales. And it's like Game of Thrones-esque, like they're parodying stuff, and that's like they ran it as like a 3-episode special, so you kind of watch it as like almost a movie.
Yeah, I miss South Park.
Something like that. I mean, I have a great time with.
What do you mean you miss it? It's on. It was.
Yeah, but we haven't had anything new for a little while.
Yeah,
we get the specials, but
but there was one not long ago.
Yeah,
the
but it's
last
not the
special.
same, man. I want a season.
The last season wasn't that long ago either.
Something else I'd probably do if I was gonna like have like a Christmas movie time is just movies I overall enjoy, like something a Nolan film, an Inception or something. Just put that on and be like, yeah, good time.
Yeah, you can have a
because like
you said,
a
tradition you watch even if it's not.
Watching movies that, like you said, that you enjoy and you've watched multiple times. That thing of something that you never noticed the first time or third time.
Yeah,
like something else you can pick
I will
out.
say there are people who pick a movie and just watch it all the time, and that's fine, I guess. But I feel like
you're losing.
You're cutting yourself off from.
I think for me, like the closest I've got is I like to watch. Jingle All the Way is a good movie, and I try to watch it every Christmas period if I can. Also, in a weird way, even though it's not that Christmassy, like Alan sort of said, The Last Action Hero.
Yeah.
For me, it feels like a good. It doesn't really. It's not really Christmas, but it's like. Yeah. It's sort of it's that very specific 90s window of Arnie.
Yeah.
In like
action comedy
kind of Arnie in a very specific time period, and I feel like they're good partner movies. To me.
Yeah.
But, that's just something I've got. Even though The Last Action Hero isn't really a Christmas movie, it's still.
Oh, I haven't. I forgot to mention that. I haven't watched it yet. But I try to watch The Office Christmas special every Christmas, obviously.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
Look, like, it's a wonderful Christmas special.
The UK Office.
The UK one, yeah. It's a wonderful Christmas special, you know. It makes me feel good when I watch it.
Like, it justifies all the cringe you have to go through to watch.
Alan is very sensitive to the cringe.
No, I maintain that it wraps up a limited series probably better than any other limited series in that vein. Like a comedy limited series.
I was thinking about this the other day, and I was listening to a podcast or something, and it came up on there as well. And then it was the American Office was on TV the other night as well, and so like it all kind of came together at the same time. But yeah, the UK Office is the perfect example of quality over quantity.
Yeah.
And while the American Office is fine, like there's so much of it that there's going to be a lot of hit and miss, and probably more miss.
But what I love about the UK Office Christmas special is it when you're watching the whole show, it sets up all of these arcs with like most of the main characters, and then at the two episodes of that the Christmas special is kind of like made of, it kind of wraps them all up really sweetly, and all of the...
When did because the Christmas special didn't come out till a while after the series ended, right?
It got cancelled.
Yeah, so the second... Did it? I don't know if it got cancelled or not.
I think it just ended because UK shows don't usually go that long.
You had a second season, and then you had the Christmas special, I think.
It was definitely the last.
Or was there a gap between season 1 and 2? Is that what I'm thinking?
I can't remember. But what I love about it is it sets up all of these characters, what their motivations and what they want out of life and stuff. And then everybody kind of gets what they want at the end. Like, I feel like there's if that was to come out now, you'd get this more jaded approach to it, maybe. I don't think the writers would get away with just giving everybody their happy ending as much. Because, like, I can imagine, what do you reckon? A happy ending...
Did Keith get what he wanted?
Keith always gets what he wants.
But I thought Keith was unemployed when you go,
I can't remember, but
that's technically...
He didn't have any trouble dating. He references that in the show. Yeah. The ladies love Keith.
It's just in the later when he... what's his name? The main guy.
Tim.
No.
David Brent.
Yes, David Brent. He does the other show where I guess he's supposed to be like depressed and stuff.
Oh, the one where his wife dies?
Yeah,
Afterlife. Yeah.
Isn't that so semi-related when he goes to see Keith then?
That's a different canon.
That's a different guy. That's a different universe.
But he's so much. It's basically just Keith, and he's like, "Look at me, I'm."
No, what are you talking about?
That's not connected.
They're
at
not
all.
related, man.
I like to think they are.
I mean,
well, you can keep on thinking that.
I mean,
that's your headcanon.
That means David Brent's had a very different role.
Yeah, exactly.
What David Brent turned into.
But
that's a very different character.
One of the greatest Christmas party scenes of all time. Like the very end sequence there.
Yeah.
Magic, absolute magic when Dawn comes back for Tim.
Also,
it wraps up, and then David gets his own against Finchy.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it tells him to F off. And then, he gets his lady. Even David gets his lady in the end, kind of.
Yeah.
But they retcon that for David Brent, Life on the Road, which I thought was terrible.
I never saw that, yeah.
It's funny, but he ruins the Office canon. Like it's David Brent doesn't get with the lady in the end. And
Clerks 3'd it.
Yeah, no, actually, legit.
He did it before it was cool.
He, the whole thing is that after leaving the office, he works in another office, but no one finds him funny because he says the mean jokes and no one laughs, but this other guy who's, like, ridiculous. and then he saves up all of his money, and he spends all of his money to tour his own music.
Yeah.
So he never makes any money because he blows his life savings on tours every like couple of years.
It's a kind of a sad movie.
Yeah.
It's meant to be a
really
comedy,
sad.
but it's just like, what have you done to our character?
It's like the UK, like I said, quality over quantity. Like you had a good ending with the Christmas. That's it.
But great Christmas special.
Yeah.
Right, what else we got, James?
No,
What are your Christmas movies?
I looked it up, and the first season of UK Office was 2001, second season was 2002, and then the Christmas special was 2003. So it was all consistent. I for some reason in my head, I was like, oh, there's a couple of years between.
Yeah, I thought there was, but
I thought,
but overall, there aren't that many episodes.
No,
it's
actually
no. First season is 6 episodes. Second season is 6. And the Christmas special is 2
So even if it is year on year, you're still waiting a considerable time.
Yeah.
But that's normal with English TV.
But it's not English TV shows. It's like I could have sworn there was a million episodes of Fawlty Towers, but there's like 12.
Yeah.
I could have sworn the young ones went for years, but it was like 6 episodes.
Yeah. It's always like that.
Yeah.
What other Christmas movies we got?
I also watched the original Miracle on 34th Street.
Oh, was that
I was thinking about watching some of the classics.
Yeah, because
I haven't got around to it.
I've seen the remake, the 1994 version, a million times. It's one of my favorite movies as a kid. And I knew it was a remake of a 1947 movie, and I just never got around to seeing it. And I bought it on Blu-ray last year, and I didn't have time to watch it. And so I watched it this year, and it's classic. Like, such a good movie. Little baby Natalie Wood, so good. Just great, whimsical Christmas classic. There's a lot of good like 1940s Christmas movies. It's a Wonderful Life, and stuff like that. It's like just that old classic kind of Hollywood feeling. It's a great movie. And I'm gonna rewatch the remake too later in the week. Just to compare them.
Yeah.
I also watched... Oh, speaking of... I should have mentioned this before when we were talking about Silent Night, Deadly Night. I watched a horror Christmas movie called Christmas Evil, which...
Oh, jeez.
It's actually pretty good because... And I think that... So it was originally titled You Better Watch Out. Which is a more appropriate title, because like the first like third of the movie is about this guy who again like suffers a trauma as a young person during Christmas, finds out Santa isn't real, and then now he's a grown up man working in a toy factory, and he's like trying to get back the spirit of Christmas. He's like, I'm sick of all this commercial cheap plastic toy crap.
Almost sounds exactly like Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Except whereas Silent Night, Deadly Night is very like trashy, like cutting heads off. This is more about a man who like tries to become Santa and things go wrong. Like he's trying to do the right thing by like he makes his own toys and he dresses up as Santa and he kind of goes around and there's actually some really whimsical moments that feel like a joyous Christmas movie where he's like giving kids presents and they love him and they think he's real and he starts to believe it and he starts to go a bit crazy. And then of course people like, because he like breaks into people's houses to give the
as Father Christmas does.
And then people start chasing him
Bring
and he's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Blood being here.
And then he accidentally like knocks a guy over and kills him and it's like, oh my God. And then it like, kind of gets more and more like a horror movie where he's like, but it's not a trashy slasher movie like a lot of these movies could be. So the studio renamed it Christmas Evil later on to get
cash in
and get more. But that's not a great title for what the movie ends up being, which is a different kind of movie about this guy, kind of sad guy who's trying to get the spirit of Christmas back and ends up going a bit crazy and thinking he's Santa Claus.
You're describing like a Christmas-based psychological thriller. Wouldn't that be interesting?
Yeah, it sort of is. Like, because like, you see the trailer and the poster and he's got the knife and you're like, oh, it's a cheesy slasher movie. But you actually watch the movie and it's like, oh, it's just kind of a psychological movie about a sad guy who, tries to do the right thing and it goes wrong. And of course there's moments where it's like, violence and stuff. But yeah, no, that was pretty good actually. I was surprised at that.
Nice.
And then I watched Bad Santa, which I hadn't seen in a long time.
I haven't seen it in a long time. I don't like that kid.
Really? He's so funny.
I'm not a fan.
He's so weird.
I'm not
he creeps
a fan.
you out.
He does creep me out.
He is creepy. He's like the whole, sandwiches thing. It's so funny. No, I think one of the reasons the movie works is because of that kid. Because like you could have cast like a cute Disney kid or like whatever, but the fact that he's just some random kid who just looks like he walked on set randomly.
Yeah.
And he's wearing like these clothes that are too small for him, and he's so funny. I think it's the hair. I don't like that kid. That little curly hair, yeah.
I really don't like that kid.
No, I think it's a really funny movie. It's also a weird movie, like the director... Oh man, someone's doing Christmas burnouts.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't know if that came through on the mic.
Maybe.
But yeah, the director Terry Zwigoff is such a weird director for this kind of movie. He did like these really critically acclaimed movie. He made this movie Ghost World, which is really, really good. I really like it.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, and then he made Bad Santa, which is like this kind of trashy, not trashy, but you know what I mean.
Oh, it kind
of crass.
Yeah, vulgar.
Yeah, vulgar. Yeah. But it's a pretty good movie. I think it holds up. Obviously, there are parts of it that aren't.
They made sequels, didn't they?
They made a second one, which I never saw. I might watch the second one.
Was that Billy Bob, or did they find a second Bad Santa?
No, Billy Bob's in it, but the director didn't return.
It's not a Jingle All the Way to sort of
they
situation.
didn't get some other guy. I might watch the second one just to see what it's like. Out of curiosity. I don't think it'll be good.
Probably not. Usually they never are.
Yeah. But yeah, like I enjoyed Bad Santa. I hadn't seen it in a long time, and it was really funny. And yeah.
Anyone else got any Christmas movies they like?
Oh, I mean, kinda. I mean,
that if you were talking about movies we like, we'd go on all night.
Yeah,
but movies
what have we watched
recently? Then
what about you, Rafal? Any Christmas movies recently? Rafal is very uncomfortable right now.
He's like, any movie I watch would be blacklisted, you know.
Okay.
What about you?
Should have seen him sweating.
No.
See, silent producer Christian. It's in his name. He doesn't.
Yeah, no.
He produces.
Produces what? We don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we still got time, and since Alam's here, and he hasn't been here for a while, and he promised to do something a long time ago, which he didn't do.
To be fair, he didn't have a TV at the time.
Yeah, but he shouldn't have promised. That's what I have a problem with. But anyway,
like you've never moved a house before.
Yeah, he finally did do what he said he was going to do.
Yes.
And now he's back, and we can talk about The Boys. Season 3.
All right, spoiler alert and anything else alert.
Oh, you want to do full spoilers?
Yeah, might as well just get into it.
All right, Nathan, can you look at the timestamp there so we can do a timestamp?
Yep.
Do you want me to write it down?
So 35 minutes.
35 minutes. All right. Spoilers for The Boys Season 3.
Actually, hold up. Blue Ball CL, let's go to a quick break before we get back.
All right. And that
way you know where the...
Yeah. You're back on the Tuesday review. The Boys Season 3. Alan
Spoiler alert.
Finally watched it.
Yeah.
We can finally talk about it.
Also, I guess, visceral action alert. I mean, The Boys have always been
trigger
like that.
warning?
But The Boys have always been like that.
Yeah, but this season is hardcore.
Yeah. It'll be having your hole in your gonads.
I mean, there's
manners.
There's some action.
Trigger warning, spoiler alert.
There's some action in like the first 10 minutes of the first episode. So there you go.
Yeah.
And, if you're squeamish about that, then it's probably a good guide of how the rest of the season's going to go.
Yeah.
I think... how to start?
I just want to say... Well, it's been a while... Because I watched it when it aired, so it's been quite a while and I can't remember it a lot. I think I wrote down some notes, so I'll try to find those later.
Yeah.
But the first few episodes, before the season even finished, you guys hadn't started it yet, and I kept saying, like, I think this is the best season.
I kind of wanted to wait until it was all finished.
Yeah, and then when it finished, I'm like... I think this is the best season. I think season 3 of The Boys is the best.
I think the first couple episodes, I wasn't 100% sure, but then
as you get through it,
as it sort of gets going, by the end of season 3, I was confident it was probably the best season.
I'm glad that Prime allowed them to like do whatever they wanted with it. There doesn't seem to have been any restrictions imposed on them at all.
It's funny that we went from they wouldn't let them show Homelander jerking off in the first season to letting them put that deleted scene from the first season into the second season. But to the crazy shit we see in the third season. I mean, it's gotten so successful that the Amazon is just like, okay, you can do whatever you want.
To put it in context here with the spoiler warning and content warning, they went from not allowing, I guess, an unseen jerk off in season 1 to having basically the boys' version of Ant-Man going inside another man.
Yeah.
Very graphically.
The front of another man.
Yeah, into his pee hole.
Urethra.
And basically exploding.
Not before
playing around,
feeling around.
So it's very definitely Amazon just let them do whatever they wanted.
Yeah,
which is the best way to handle the boys. Which is also,
and that's always something we've talked about. Where I'm sick of, like, we're in the golden age of television, the streaming,
that's over,
whatever.
Man, that's over.
Yeah, I know, but it's just like I'm so sick of still watching shows and being like, oh, they're holding back here. They're still not letting them do everything here. That's why I still love HBO the most, because there's like dongs hanging around and all crazy shit. So that's why when the boys season
cancel your show, damn it.
When the boys season 3 came out, I was like, this is what I'm here for. This is what I subscribe for. This is what I'm paying for. Is not, no
censorship.
Don't hold back.
Yeah.
I'm an adult. I can handle it. All you have to do is put a content warning at the start. That's it.
Yeah, exactly right. That's it.
Other than
adults can watch whatever they want as long as they're informed.
Yeah, exactly. Other than that, don't tell the creative people, oh, you can't show these, you can't say that.
Yeah, that's
exactly. But no, I like it. I wasn't too keen on the sort of around the same time they released an animated sort of spin-off of shorts.
Yeah, I never had time to watch it.
I wasn't too keen on those.
Yeah,
but I appreciated it. It's something they did.
They were just like a little one-off.
Yeah, they weren't really connected.
Yeah,
but
it wasn't like a whole spin-off.
Yeah,
although they are making that spin-off, the college superhero one. That looks. I hope that will be good.
I liked A-Train's arc. I think that they took him in a really interesting direction. And it's funny because usually with these types of characters, you don't see growth as much. They kind of used as a kind of, second-rate character or like a comedic character.
Yeah.
But they really took him and they gave him a direction. And I think it really paid off. Now you look at the whole season, you look at the whole show, and it has this really fascinating character moments.
Because he kept doing this thing where he's like, is he going to be good? And he's like, no, he's bad again. And he's like, is he going to be good? And he's like, no. And he kept getting close to redemption and then just throwing it away. And then he finally killed that guy, and then he had a heart attack and died. I was like, oh, that's good. That's a kind of good end to his arc. I think that's a satisfying death. Like, he kind of redeemed himself. He realized he was wrong, and then he died. And then cut to he wakes up and he's got the racist heart in his body. And I'm like, okay, they're still going.
Like, I appreciate that it was very meta with the idea that, okay, he's lost his powers, so he wants something else to do, and he tries to be the black superhero, going back to Africa.
Yeah.
Trying to get play the whole to my roots card. But, he knows that everyone else knows it around him. That's all crap.
Yeah.
And he doesn't.
It's for marketing.
It's for marketing. He just wants to be able to get up to the top again. And that's who he is.
Yeah.
So kind of having that meta look at that, and then giving him a chance to, I guess, redeem himself. He even apologizes to Huey.
Yeah.
For what happened.
That's the thing. When he apologized and then he killed the guy, I was like, and then died. I was like, okay, that's a good end. But and then he's like, surprised.
He's surprised, like, you're alive now, and you've got the heart of the guy who you killed.
Yeah.
And the heart of the guy who's a racist.
Yeah.
Like, just the melancholy that he'd be going through. I think that was probably a solid setup for next season.
And his brother doesn't want to talk to him anymore,
his brother
right?
doesn't want to talk to him.
Yeah. And he's probably no longer in the 7.
I think he's back.
I can't remember what happened.
He's got a super heart, so he can run again.
Look, I don't know how it is in this universe. I haven't read the comics, but it's like you should always be aware of the speedster. You know what I mean? It's the same kind of thing. It's like the Flash can rip people's hearts out if he wants, right? He just vibrates his hand super quick.
I don't think in the...
It's true.
See, when you get into
he's done it before.
Callum will back me up. When you get into...
Evil Flash.
When you get into nerdy DC, Marvel comic books, real nerdy shit, the Flash can phase through walls and travel through time and all sorts of stuff. I don't think the boys is that kind of universe where it'll get to that point.
No, but I mean, even you would think
he can just push through a person with such speed that they blow up. I happened in episode 1 of season 1.
No, but I'm just saying, I don't think he's ever going to get to the point where
no, not to that level.
Like the difference between the boys and like Marvel and DC is that Marvel and DC revel in that kind of let's explore how far we can
the
actually
more fantastical
push the uses of these superpowers.
But I feel like everyone
the boys is kind of like let's just take a gritty, grounded look. Rafael's laughing like I can't believe they're arguing live on air about superhero powers.
Oh yeah,
this is listen to the Tuesday review.
This is the real
man get ripped out with super speed.
No, but that's my point. Is I feel like everyone takes advantage of.
Ever heard of Flashpoint Paradox?
That's an awesome movie.
But I feel like everyone takes advantage of A-Train, right? But it's like again, even Homelander should watch his back because you're not going to necessarily if you're not paying 100% attention to everything around you. A-Train could take your head off.
I think Homelander's way too powerful for A-Train to even think about that. And also, Homelander rules through fear, so everyone's too afraid to...
True.
Yeah. If you come at the king, you best not miss.
Yeah, but at the same time, at the end of the season, they take Homelander on.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And, Queen
Maeve.
That
fight... should we talk about Hero-gasm?
Yes.
Can we even talk about that on air? We'll talk around. We'll talk around it. We'll talk around it. We already talked about the.
Just don't use any expletive words, and it'll be
fine.
A large amount of heroes get together for
some fun times.
Some fun
superhero orgy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And some of them, I think the twins, actual twins.
I don't know.
Like.
In real life or in the universe of the show? Yeah, they're brother and sister in the universe of the show.
Okay, and they're doing the... Okay.
It's... I looked up my notes and I actually noted that there are content warnings before the episodes.
Yeah.
So, usually when you watch like a HBO show or a Netflix show that gets a bit crazy, like, I don't think... You don't really see it, but... I remember, like, I wrote it down because, like, oh, this actually has a content warning. They're warning people this is going to get extreme.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Oh, also Seth Rogen.
Yeah. Seth Rogen is a cam customer.
He gets off on...
With,
he gets...
Red Velvet or whatever.
He pays the Crimson...
Crimson
Countess.
Yeah.
He pays for her OnlyFans thingy.
Yeah.
Is he producer on the show?
Yes.
Probably.
I think so.
I think he is, yeah.
He's got to make up for Green Hornet somehow.
That was a hilarious scene. He's like, having a good time, and then obviously Soldier Boy comes in.
I'm a Jensen Ackles simp.
Yeah, he's
pretty good in
Supernatural fanboy,
yeah. But he is also pretty good in this.
Soldier Boy's,
I love him with the beard. It's a good look on him.
Yeah.
Not the wild man beard. When he
the tasteful beard.
I feel it gave a good opportunity to give Black Noir, because they've changed him considerably from what he was in the comic books.
Wasn't he like a clone in the comics?
Clone of Homelander.
Yeah. He was actually the bad guy, well, one of the bad guys, because I believe he raped her, Butcher's wife.
Yeah.
Oh, in the comic book, I'm not sure.
So, in here, he's just, a different dude with a tree nut allergy. But he gets a whole background story.
His redemption arc was cool too.
I loved his little characters that he told.
The cartoon characters, it's so cool.
Yeah. I feel like, are we going to see a different Black Noir in the next season? Like, there's rumors that they're just going to put there's going to be like another one.
I don't remember what happens at the end of the season. Do they announce his death publicly?
From what I've read on the internet, right, the Black Noir in the flashback scenes is a different characters than the Black Noir in the modern day scenes.
No, that's not true.
No, he's got the same allergies and stuff.
It's the same guy.
Okay.
No, it's definitely the same guy.
And he doesn't talk because of the, I believe
the head wound.
The head wounds that he got.
Yeah.
Fighting Soldier.
No, I didn't get that it was a different guy.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the same.
But I think it was interesting to show that because you see in, I think, season 2, Black Noir goes and kills the Middle East terrorist. Right, he just chops his head off. You just see him with his head at the end.
I can't remember.
So you think Black Noir is pretty damn powerful?
Yeah.
And you think he could stand?
Well, he's got the regenerating powers.
Yeah, he could stand somewhere against Homelander. But then you just see Homelander kind of destroy him.
Yeah.
So again, it shows how powerful.
Yeah,
Homelander, where he stands.
The fact that it took Soldier Boy and superpowered Butcher to even scratch Homelander, I think tells you everything you need to know.
They get him down.
And I like actually. This is one of the reasons I really like the season as well. Is like that whole arc where the Butcher has to become his worst enemy to defeat his worst enemy. Yeah. He has to become the monster to defeat it. Yeah. And
it's also a very shonen thing to do. This arc was a very shonen manga kind of arc.
He finds the beast inside him.
Yeah.
Where it was very much a kind of, well, now the boys need to level up too, so let's get them some superpowers and kind of like...
But what I like it that it also shows...
It paid off.
It also shows the cost, so they can't just become superheroes. There's also
V kills you.
Yeah. The chemical cost.
I also liked at the end of the season where everyone's just like, no, Butcher, like, you're not the boss anymore. Yeah. Like, you went too far. And because, like, the whole thing with Huey is that Huey is Butcher's conscience, like his little brother was.
Yeah.
And the fact that he kind of mistreats Huey so much, and then I just like that whole thing. Like, he becomes the monster he's trying to defeat.
They use the word poor fist quite funny to me, just because obviously it's supposed to be an American show, and then. You know, they just have the...
Butcher's vernacular,
he's like, don't be
I just...
Again, that's also...
I imagine there'd be a few Americans who are like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Googling.
Yeah.
What's a poof?
It's something you put your foot in.
Just...
The C-bomb, we always appreciate choice C-bombs in shows and movies, because a lot of shows and movies you can't do that, because in America, in America it's such a bad word, and here it's like that's what you call your friends.
And like the revelation that Huey has been working for, a soup this entire time, feeding them information.
Yeah.
With the Congresswoman, and also the fact that Huey, when he takes the Temp V, his kind of intoxication addiction to being a superhero.
Yeah, that was good.
I think the character arcs are real good in this season. Anthony Starr as well is like he's holds the show on his shoulders.
I remember he's scarily good. It's like James said one time, he's scary good.
I said he's so good it's scary.
Yeah.
Like and this whole season especially, as basically the whole season he's just slow mental breakdown.
Yeah,
the whole season.
He's honestly that whole dead eye with the smile. Like he's so scary.
He's mental breakdown, but also like a weird opening to the evil gate as well, of like, I can keep doing stuff and they cheer for me.
Oh yeah. Remember in the season 2 came out and there was a whole like Trump thing where he's getting supporters and then he kills the crowd of people, but then it's a dream. And I was like, he needs to do that, because it's gotten to the point, especially in America with politics and the way people like. He could do that and people would still follow him. And I love that at the end of season 3, he kills that guy in front of all those people and everyone's like, And then his son is just like,
that's cool.
Oh, the whole thing with the son too. That's
the son's changed from...
Yeah, if you push someone away and treat them terribly, they're going to go towards the dark side.
But like, same thing like, after his white supremacist girlfriend dies.
Yeah.
And then there's that lady who's... going to kill herself, right? She's going to jump off the building.
Yeah.
And Homelander's like, congratulations. Yeah. This is your one save or whatever it is for the day.
Do it.
And I don't know what the conversation goes, but at the end of it, he's like, do it, jump.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not giving you an option. You're going to jump.
Yeah.
And he like pushes her or something, or
I can't remember.
Her to jump somehow.
Yeah.
And he's like, whoops.
Yeah.
And no
he's
one
gone
cares.
full.
He's like realizes
full as a scorched earth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I hope like. One thing I really liked about this season as well, I don't know if it was just me, but I feel like even the production value and the special effects and the costumes were even better. Like, it feels like they're pumping money. And it probably goes with the whole censorship thing where they're allowing them to do whatever they want to do, but they're also just pumping money into it. Because it just looked great.
Look, it might change because obviously now Amazon's got, they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars on Lord of the Rings.
Wasting hundreds of millions of dollars on.
But I mean, it's the whole thing about quality versus quantity, right?
Yeah, it's also what brings in the eyeballs.
Well, so far Amazon's kind of, they're on the right side of it, but they might start to slip.
That's the thing with the spin-off series. And then there was an animated thing, and I don't know if they're going to do more of that. So I hope it doesn't become this big.
We might be on the tipping point.
They're spreading it too thin. Yeah. But what I was saying is like I hope that the next season they have the budget to do some like actual scorched earth stuff, like whole cities being demolished and stuff.
No, but it's good, man. It's such a good show, and we can't wait to see what happens next.
A couple of things. I was really surprised to find out Anthony Starr is from New Zealand.
Yeah, he's a Kiwi, bruh.
I was like, wow, he's really convincing.
Yeah.
And also I thought everything with the Deep. I mean, he's such a I love to hate him. Yeah, he's kind of a lovable, hateable.
You also kind of feel sorry for him.
Yeah, you feel sorry for him.
And then he does something.
You feel sorry for him, but he's a huge dick, and I want to punch him in the head.
But then he has to eat the octopus.
Yeah, what's the octopus called? Oh, I wrote it down, but I can't.
You know what? He's tragic. That's why.
Yeah.
He does something awful, and then he gets punished for it. But then he keeps doing awful things, and he keeps getting punished. Yeah, he's just
incredible. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like even Carl Urban's obviously a Kiwi as well.
Yeah.
I think it was in season one there was a flashback where he's with his wife, Butch is with his wife, and she's obviously with Vought, and they meet Homelander, and he says nice accent, and I'm like, it's good, they're both Kiwis, and
wink, wink,
one's pretending to be a British guy, one's pretending to be an American hero.
I also like the superhero boy band, Supersonic.
Yeah, that
was funny. Yeah.
And they make him perform that song that's really inappropriate.
License to Drive was about underage girls. Like, ugh. That was funny.
Kimiko's like whole thing of like she loses her powers temporarily. Yeah. And she's finally happy about that because she feels they're a curse. But then also coming around to the idea that I kind of need this curse to protect the people I care about. And good old Frenchie finding out that he's very much into kind of being treated poorly like a dog. Yeah.
Also, what was it? I had it right here. Where is it?
MM's whole like story of how his family was just a casualty of Soldier Boy.
Yeah.
That was good.
I feel like I didn't really like MM's arc that much.
Yeah.
Nah.
It's very...
It gave him his whole... It gave him the backstory for why he's on his warpath.
Yes, but I also feel like he can't see the forest and the trees.
I think the reason you weren't too keen on it...
he's stuck... Butcher didn't stick to his guns.
Yeah.
He became the monster to defeat it. MM is like, I refuse to go that far because then what's the point?
I feel
what's the difference between us and them?
Yeah, exactly.
MM won't work with Soldier Boy to defeat Homeland, who is the biggest threat.
I think the reason you don't like... the reason you don't like it...
Does the end justify the means? That's
because when you look at it, all the other characters adjust their way of thinking to suit the situation, even if it means that their initial morals are compromised. Whereas MM doesn't really do that. So when you compare MM to the rest, he seems kind of fixated. But in reality, everyone else just got a bit looser, and they changed the goal.
Yeah, MM refuses to compromise his morals, whereas everyone's just like, we gotta go into the grey area to defeat the villain, and MM refuses to. And you kind of have to give him props for that, because even if it kills him... But on the other hand, you can understand
whether it was a good idea or not.
You can understand the other side as well.
Look at this. Or they use Soldier Boy to kill Homelander. How do you kill Soldier Boy now?
Yeah, exactly.
Soldier Boy can be reasoned with to an extent.
Can he? He's blowing shit up.
Not really.
He was blowing up buildings.
Yeah, at the end, not really.
He was just as bad, and he was about to kill Huey. The only reason he survived was because Butcher got the laser eyes on him.
Yeah,
like he was. The thing is, you use one evil to kill another evil. You're still left with another evil.
Yeah, and then how do you defeat that guy? And then what do you have to do?
You bring out an even bigger evil from somewhere else.
Yeah,
that's the shonen way.
Yeah. No, what I was going to say was Ashley is such a good character. Like, low-key, one of the best characters. Yeah. And her hair's falling out.
She's pulling it all out from stress. I'm surprised what they did with Giancarlo Esposito's... damn it, I forgot his name. It was on the tip of my tongue.
The boss, yeah.
The CEO. Mr. Edgar? Stan Edgar, yeah.
Like, they decided to... Well, the congresswoman threw him under the bus as, like, keeping secrets and stuff. I feel like he was a damn strong kind of... one of the villainous kind of characters. And so, like, he should... Well, you'd imagine he'd be back, right? Like, you would hope at least.
We'll see.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I had this in my notes, the A-Train Kylie Jenner Pepsi ad.
Yes.
That was the funny.
There's a lot of those kind of funny marketing kind of things.
It's like, you love it when you can get meta and, make fun of that.
Yeah.
So good.
Just one more thing. we talk a lot on the show about like adaptations from the source material to the screen, and a lot of the time doesn't work. A lot of the time they try to do things differently just for the sake of it, because they think they're smart or because they don't have the time or the money. The Boys is such a well-written show that it doesn't matter that it's not comic book super
it captures the spirit.
Accurate, because and also it's just really well done. So this is the perfect example of a show that it doesn't need to be one-to-one with the comic book, because it's doing really good, great stuff in its own right. Because we talk a lot about, it's like, why are they doing this? They can just follow the books or whatever. And, you know, when I talked about watching The Witcher and it got so bad, I was like, I'm just going to stop watching and read the books. With The Boys, it's like, yeah, one day I want to read the comics just to see the differences, and I'm sure it's a good comic. But, like, I don't feel the need to go and watch it, read it, because I'm like, I have this great stuff. I don't want to get spoiled anyway. I don't want to know what the differences are. Then when the show finishes, then I can out of curiosity. But like that's night and day difference is like something as good as The Boys. It's like I don't need to seek anything else out, because what they're doing is great. Even if it's not that accurate to the comic book, it doesn't matter, because what they're doing is awesome.
And I think a great example of that is spoiler for the comics. When Butcher's wife is raped by Homeland or Black Noir secretly, and she actually ends up taking the baby to term. The baby like cuts its way out of her and kills her, and he then chokes the baby to death with its own umbilical cord.
Damn.
And I'm like, the Butcher we see in the show, you can see him doing that kind of thing. If that had happened in the show, you'd be like, this is the Butcher that they've portrayed so far.
Well, when he tried to, it was at the end of the first season, or I think it was the end of the first season, where he tries to blow up the Homelander and he's holding the baby, and I was like, oh wow, he really went for it. But then he saved the Homelander. But he just doesn't care.
And it's like you're not using the same scenes exactly, but you're definitely conveying the same kind of character.
It's the same. Exactly.
Yeah, it's a good show. We're excited to see.
Season 4, and I'm hoping that spin-off.
And it's definitely something different to the usual television you see.
Oh yeah.
So if you're bored of the stuff you regularly see, I'd say it's a bit squeamish sometimes.
Yeah, if you can stomach.
There's a bit of the C word, Come on.
Yes, I think we're all out of time.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We hope you have a good Christmas.
Yes.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.
We might be back next week.
We'll see how we go.
Yeah. Bit after Christmas.
We'll see. We'll definitely keep you informed.
Yep.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Please like and share the Tuesday Review Facebook page at Tuesday Review AU.
Yep. Facebook page, Instagram, and Twitter. Although I think we should delete Twitter, but that's a conversation for another time.
That's a Saturday show discussion.
We'll make a Mastodon.
That's a Saturday show discussion.
Yeah.
You can't find us on Truth Social.
Yeah.
You can also email us at thetuesdayreview@outlook.com. So questions, comments, suggestions. Let us know if there's specific things you like about the show that you want us to focus on, or whatever, or if you just want to say hello. Thanks
for listening,
we'll even take some hate mail.
Yeah, we'll take the hate mail. We'll take all the hate mail. Give it to us. Thanks for listening, everyone. You can catch all the other episodes on Anchor, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you listen. Adios, cousins.
See you next Tuesday.